r/rules horror. Posted buyu/minminfan. Rules for residents of Whispering Willows. Welcome. Starting today, you are officially a part of the quaint and lovely Whispering Willows, and our tight-knit community is eager for you to settle in your new home and be our new friend. It is indeed wonderful to have some fresh faces around, given that our town is practically invisible to the world with its rather inconvenient location and limited availability of recreational spaces. Please do not interpret this as signs of stagnation. All the needed facilities and amenities are always at your disposal. They simply do not have the wow factors to rival renowned vacation spots, thus they do not appeal to most joy seekers. Anyhow, as you can probably tell after touring Whispering Willows, our population situation was rather despondent, much as we dislike admitting. Despite the town's extensive size and abundance of mint-condition habitations, it has less than 1,000 residents, including you as the newest addition. You might even find yourself among stretches of unoccupied houses as you walk down the streets, and we assure you, there is nothing to be concerned about. They are empty for conceivable reasons, though we'd like to warn against letting curiosity get the better of you and enter them unpermitted. Whatever you believe you see, it's your eyes deceiving you. The houses are always absent of living beings. If possible, maintain a safe distance with these areas and keep to high-traffic parts of the town where you are certain that human companies are within reach. No harm will be done in being near them, but places that have been left uninhabited for a long time tend to attract uninvited pests, like mice, snakes, and others. It's wise to leave them be and avoid unnecessary accidents. That's the primary rule to bear in mind. To acclimate you to Whispering Willows, we have made sure to include a brief list of secondary rules in this welcome message so that you can start acting like locals from day one. We acknowledge that some might seem downright outlandish, but please put aside any slight inconvenience to comply. Whispering Willows is, after all, an old town, and like any places of antiquity, it presents problems and constraints that people used to the modern way fail to imagine. Rules for being outdoors. Rule 1. Unless under special circumstances, you will not spot a single willow tree in town. Yes, we understand the incredibility of this rule, seeing as the whole town is named after the tree itself. But trust that we have our reasons not to let willows grow unrestrained. If you happen to discover a willow tree on a path that you are about to cross, turn back and choose another route. Do not keep your eyes on the drooping branches or the lush, cascading foliage for too long, even if it begins rustling violently. Rule 2. There are 4 council offices in total, each located at the border of the town in the south, west, east, and north. Now, you will not be able to find a mayor here. Standard management conventions do not apply in this town, and we simply think collecting one is not necessary. No issues have arisen so far since all the town officials have undergone intensive training, leaving them fully equipped to assist you under any circumstances. Knowing the unpredictable nature of emergencies, these devoted individuals will be available around the clock to offer help whenever needed. There are currently 4 officials, Victoria, Matthew, Crystal, and Alexander, representing the council offices in the exact mentioned order. Please flip to the back of this guideline for their photos. Rule 3. Whispering Willows is encompassed by miles of vegetation, completely cutting it from civilization. The plants are as old as the town itself, some might even predate its establishment. And, of course, the complexity and density of their assemblage should not be underestimated. For your own safety, do not walk out of town and into the tree line regardless of the situation. You are going to get lost, and there is no hope of being found in that maze of a forest. Even placing 1 foot outside the town's boundary can put yourself at risk. If, for any reason, you feel a strong pull towards the trees and your head is filled with thoughts to wander among their refreshing green, immediately seek out one of the officials to require their assistance. Rule 4. The temperature might drop relatively low in areas fringed by the said massive green. The reports we receive sometimes mention the sensation of invisible frigid fingers raking down the spine, all the way from the brainstem to the sacrum, or having one's whole body enveloped in an eerie see-through cocoon which drank up their warmth little by little, leaving their skin prickling and crawling. As distressing as it looks, this is an absolutely normal phenomenon. With crooked and gnarly branches intertwining on the above to weave out a canopy on which rich foliages develop, the land around the town is basically deprived of sunlight all year round, drastically reducing its temperature. This shroud of somberness is then underscored by the lack of human settlement, which juxtaposed it in the whole town, so being near it saps the positive energy that is built up in more bustling areas rather quickly. Rule 5. You can never, ever find yourself having an affinity for the forest, or even the trees growing on the border of Whispering Willows. Their own properties have rendered them unlikable and uncomfortable to be around. Yet, there is a slim chance that you feel that the trees are calling out to you, beckoning you closer, followed by a drunk-like state that clouded your mind. If you find yourself going through these symptoms, immediately pull yourself together. A sharp pinch to the forearm will do the trick, and clear the area at once. Should they persist in stronger form, and start manifesting in real voices or physical touches, break into a run and do not look back. Keep on moving until you arrive at the nearest council office. The first few minutes should be easy, as you will only hear feeble whimpering or pleading from a far distance, echoing on and off, and feel a few urgent pats on your back. Try to make use of this time to bring yourself to safety, as the situation will only deteriorate with each passing seconds. After 5 minutes, the disturbing sounds will suddenly dull into a stretch of silence, and you will no longer feel ghostly touches on your body. This is an important interval. Be aware of your surroundings. Do you hear the bustles of the town from afar, the faintest of noise that indicates life? If yes, then you can exhale in relief now. They already deem you unworthy of pursuit for some reason. If the air is still and quiet as though all is dead, pick up the pace and do not glance behind you or stop to reassess the situation. You need to strengthen your mental fortitude, because it is going to be tested soon. At the start of the 6th minute, vibrancy will be stripped from the world around you, as though a thin layer of gray paint has been coated on your own pupils. An unknown tension will envelope you to crush at your psyche, and your heartbeat will accelerate until its thundering drums vibrate through your veins. An intense fear will be gripping you tightly, convincing you that only dangers await ahead. You must overlook your own bodily alerts and will yourself to carry on. The next 5 minutes are going to be the most arduous to endure. Frantic footsteps are going to reverberate from beside, above, and in front of you, overwhelming you with a dread that your doom is impending. Your footsteps will falter and your brain will automatically link turning back with safety. No matter how close you come to choking on your own terror, do not backtrack. You will start hearing a cacophony of screams from various distances. Some far away, some exploding by your ears, but they will all convey extreme pain and despair, tearing at your eardrums and giving you migraines. You will even develop a premonition that you are bringing yourself straight to a monster. Tears might flow from your eyes. But don't give up. The more serious the tricks they employ are, the closer you are to safety. At some point, an unsettling voice will hum along with the anguished crying. We do not know how to describe it in words. It rings with the scratchy quality of hoarse throats denied of water, then creaks in guttural bursts, each tone jagged and incongruous, like a severely resting hinge. But we could translate a sickening joy from the unintelligible croaking. The painful screaming will escalate in tempo and volume, and you might even pick up disturbing sounds of flesh being torn apart a few feet away. The fear is going to suffocate you, blinding your judgment. Your whole system is going to desire turning back. The illusions they employ vary from time to time. Just keep in mind once the office is within view, be prepared for visual attacks. Gruesome and nauseating imagery will come into play from this moment on. Expected to discover pools of blood where human body parts and organs floating below your feet. Limbless or skinless figures will be dragging themselves towards you in crippling gaits, begging you to save them or warning you not to proceed further in gurgling voices. You might even feel the weight of a tortured person on your back, feel their blood drenching your clothes, sense the viscous outsides of the intestine that drape over your arms, and smell the foulness of their rotten flesh. The horror will be beyond your imagination. We are sorry for the suffering you are subjected to, but please do not let the fear overwhelm your senses. You are so close to escaping. Before you set foot within the office grounds, the screaming and moaning on your back will abandon all control and rip through your ear with one final desperate screech. Your consciousness could be compromised with this level of strain, but make sure to push yourself onto the first step of the stairs leading up to the stoop before collapsing. Rule 6. The offices could only be used as temporary shelters before midnight. Only the official staff receive full protection inside the establishment. Details on how to join our management committee will be showcased in future update. Rule 7. As you take seat in the office, recount the events you went through to whatever official in charge of the area, and they will devise a fitting solution. Usually, the situation might transpire in two directions. They succeed in warding off the entities stalking you. Colors will then return to your world and the abominations you encountered will vanish without a trace. It is likely that you can receive a protection amulet as a good luck charm before being sent back home. In the worst-case scenario, their attempts to purge the entities will fail. Some of the town's less benevolent inhabitants possess great capabilities and cannot be dealt with the usual way. He or she will bring you to an empty desk by the corner and demand you to sit down and state your problems in detail. You have to pray that Willow is in town and ready to defend you. If Willow is in the right shape to play bodyguard, she will give signs, usually by alleviating your mental trauma and bringing warmth to your heart. You will be instructed to leave the office, and on its grounds, you can find a majestic weeping willow with elegant branches extending outwards. There is no wind, but you will be able to see her serene foliages cascading down in gentle sways. Stay under her canopy. Willow will walk you back home and keep the sinister beings at bay. Unfortunately, Willow is not always in tip-top conditions. When she deems that the situation is out of her control, her decision would be to grant you a mercy death, lulling you into a peaceful, eternal slumber as she hummed you one last lullaby. We are terribly sorry that you cannot be saved, but we guarantee this is the best possible outcome. You do not want to join the grotesque humans you ran into on the way to the offices, do you? Rule 8. Willow lacks the energy to sustain her human form, which is why you will never see her around town. Delivering warnings to keep the townsfolk from harm and performing exorcism duties is a daunting task. If you happen to be stopped by any woman referring to themselves as our Willow, immediately put distance between yourself and them. It is possible that they will enter a rage and demand respect in a screeching tone, baring their bloodied teeth, or start creaking their frame into twisted, horrendous shape while wearing a sickening smile on their face. Ignore them and return to your activities. But if they limp after you, their crushed bones creaking and groaning in rhythm with their snickering, head towards the council offices as fast as you can. Rule 9. Several locations in this town are concealed and can only be accessed during certain days, and you will be notified beforehand. If you sight strange stores, shops or entertainment centers that you are certain have never appeared in Whispering Willow before, pretend they do not exist. Entering a wrong place at the wrong time will result in permanent imprisonment. Rule 10. Touring the discrete locations during their fixed opening day is mandatory for all Whispering Willow residents. It's an ancient formality that not even Willow can interfere. The danger level is alarmingly high, since Willow has no jurisdiction over them, but their rules will be provided to reduce casualties. Rule 11. Willow is not a god, nor is she a deity or a protector of any kind. Do not have high hopes in her kindness, empathy or consideration, and do not send your prayers to her as you will soon be disappointed. Willow is loyal to Whispering Willow, not the people. She will choose the well-being of the majority over a couple individuals. Please learn to depend on your own wits. You cannot always expect to count on her in dire situations. Rule 12. Try to familiarize yourself with the sinister screaming coming from the woods throughout the day. If it does not sound human, there is nothing to be concerned about. Willow requires sustenance like anyone else. Rule 13. The officials are humans, but due to the heavy workload of managing the town's activities, they will usually not be found outside their offices during the day. If you happen to catch them off-duty during working hours, ask them to produce a branch of fresh willow from the right pocket of their shirt. When they fail to oblige and start contorting their features, inform them that Willow would be displeased with this act of impersonating, that should be able to ward them off long enough for you to reach any council office in the vicinity. Rule 14. Do not be afraid of Willow. She loves the town and will do all within her power to keep it thriving. Besides, she is a fastidious eater. Regular humans are not to her tastes. For indoor rules and other imperative principles to follow, please wait until the paperwork of your new properties is completed. You will receive them together on the same day. Once again, welcome to Whispering Willows.